I love Salishan. Garden, center, houses, streets. My whole life is here.
One, two, ready, go! One, two, ready, go!
When World War II started, thousands and thousands of workers moved to the Tacoma area. Most of them worked for the military or in shipyards at the port of Tacoma. The workers built ships that helped win the war. Some of the shipbuilders were women because so many men were fighting. But there weren't enough homes in Tacoma for all the workers, so in 1942 the government decided to build houses for them.
Architects and builders were told to build 2,000 housing units as quickly as possible. The wood they used to build the houses came from the trees that were already there. They only had $7 million to spend, so most of the houses were made to be temporary. The builders worked hard and got the homes ready in less than a year. They decided to name it Salishan.
On May 1st, 1943, the first 10 families moved into Salishan. This is the family of Ralph George. That's his wife, Bee, and their children, Nick and Janice. We don't know the name of the dog.
Most homes in Salishan didn't have phones because materials were needed for the war. Instead, neighborhood telephone booths were built outside. There were usually long lines to use a telephone booth. This woman's name is Florence Hardin. She didn't want to wait in line for a phone, so she used flags to send her message to a friend a few blocks away.
After World War II, Salishan became housing for veterans and people with low incomes. This picture of a Salishan Boy Scout troop in 1949 shows that the neighborhood was diverse even back then. Salishan is the Native American Salish tribe's word for people of many colors coming together. For 60 years now, people have been coming from all over the world to live in Salishan.
I moved here actually in 4th of July of 1968.
I lived in Salishan in about 1959 or 60 until 1963.
I lived in Salishan when I was about 7, 8 years old, and then when I was probably about 15 to 16 years old.
34 years ago, I moved to Salishan, and it was a good place to live even then.
I think a lot of the good memories are the memories of playing with your friends out in the backyard, playing football or baseball, or going down in the gulch and playing hide and seek, or just playing with the rocks and stuff in the water.
Oh, when I first came here, I really liked Salishan. I liked the idea that there were a lot of trees. You could do a lot of exploring. You could go in the woods if you wanted to. just play forever because there are a lot of play fields around here. And there were so many things that you can eat. Like we used to play, and there are hazelnut trees, there are apple trees, there are just and blackberries. You know, we never went home for lunch. We just stayed out and played and got lunch, you know, wherever we were.
Nobody in our neighborhood had a lot of money, and so we had to find things to do to keep us busy. And so we had to rely on our friends a lot to find things to do and have fun. And those are the memories that I have of Salishan. Now there is one more thing that I remember, and that was how thin the walls were. Because one time I was being real goofy and thought I would hit the wall for some silly reason, and I actually put my fist through the wall, not because I was strong, but because the wall was weak. Of course, I got in trouble when Mom got home.
When I first moved here, I was afraid because I had heard many stories about living in this community. I heard that it was very unsafe. So at first, I was afraid.
People had a pretty negative view of Salishan and would use words that are not real positive words to describe it. And then in the 1980s, it was very unsafe.
Salishan has grown quite a bit because when I first came here to Salishan, it was gang members and all of that.
Coi như là ấy hả? Thì cái hồi mới về ở đây thì chú cũng hơi worry là nghe người ta nói là cũng ấy, nhưng mà chú ở đây cũng quen rồi, chú thấy cũng không có gì hết.
Then in the early 90s, there was a lot of money to do good programs and keep people having positive things to do, and it made a huge change. The neighborhood got safer, and also the families that moved into Salishan began to plant flowers and make it look nicer, and people just began to act differently and feel differently.
Буквально тоді, коли ми приїхали в 1999 році, через декілька місяців я почув про такий, взагалі не про Салішан, а про таку програму, яка надає житло для малозабезпечених.
When I just moved here, I was in a refugee camp for 3 to 4 years. So when our family moved there, we were very happy because we have a wonderful place to live in, a community that is close to each other.
We moved into Salishan, and it was like all of a sudden we had 3 bedrooms and our own kitchen, and the children could have their own dog, and so it was wonderful.
¿Por qué querías vivir aquí? Porque se me hacía un área primero cerca de las tiendas, y se me veía un área muy tranquila.
Living in Salishan for me was like a neighborhood where, people knew each other, and it was like a community family. It was like my neighbor was my family. I can remember when we would get in trouble, or if we did something and our neighbor knew it, our neighbor would phone home to our parents and tell our parents, your son or daughter's up here doing this or that. And it was like it took a village to raise a child, and so it was like the neighborhood, it was like everybody was related, and everybody was a community. It was a community.
There's so many wonderful stories and some very sad stories. There were many things that made me and others cry when things were really sad. And then that we used to celebrate, though. We used to have big parties here, and we still do, community parties. And this place makes me happy, Lister Elementary School.
Special about Salishan?
what's special about Salishan is the people. People like you and people like your classroom. It's so culturally diverse, and the people really want to do well by their neighborhood. So it's a special group of people in a special neighborhood.
I love living in Salishan. It's a community of so many cultures, and it's wonderful to learn from other people.
Salishan is important for me because they helped me a lot. When I was in Salishan, I have a low rent and I have a time to go to school, to work, and it's a good community here because we have a lot Cambodian and a lot of the other nation, like a multicultural nation in the Salishan.
It's important to me because the people here showed me how to be a real friend, how I could enter their lives even though I don't live here, and be of use. So it's the people, first and all, the people that live here.
Для нас було дуже добре, ми мали гарних сусідів, тихо, спокійно, тиха вулиця. Так що, в принципі, можна було дуже гарно там жити.
របស់ខ្ញុំនៅ housing ខ្ញុំសប្បាយចិត្តហើយខ្ញុំសូមអរគុណចំពោះដែល housing ឲ្យខ្ញុំនៅខ្ញុំសូមអរគុណហើយ
I think it's a great place to live, mainly if you're on low income and you're a senior citizen. It feels good because we have security.
ប្រាប់អូនៅនេះនៅនេះស្រួលអ៊ំចាស់ហើយបានធ្វើការអីមិនមានប្រាក់បង់ខ្លែកទៀតច្រើននេះនៅនេះរត់យោតិចហ្នឹងណាហើយគេសេវសាយភ្លើងខ្លែកអីយើងផងអ៊ំបានធ្វើការហើយមែន
Que está todo cerca el comercio, por lo menos el área comercial que está a la 72 Street cerca, que la escuela está cerca, el freeway está cerca, que estamos en el medio de todo el área comercial.
Я знаю то, что классно, что это дешевая программа, и все.
Хорошо, спасибо.
What's special about Salishan? You know, the diversity, the close neighborhood, the services that well, for me, services that THAs provide, and other services that are here, like the Indo-Chinese, where they can help out people that very limited in English.
I think Salishan is special because of the people that live here and have always lived here. They usually come poor with very few things, and they find this is a good place to live and allow their children to grow up. I think that's very special.
I think it's the richness of the people. You know, they come from many different countries and bring a lot of cultural customs and ways of doing things, and sometimes, like with Russian, we'll say from the Russian families, Ukrainian and Cambodian, Vietnamese, a lot of them are used to working together more. In America, we're very independent, and in the other cultures, they work together not only as families but as communities, and so we've learned a lot. I've learned a lot from working as we try to accomplish things when we have challenges. And there's also the good food and the good music and the parties. Just the people of the community are really what makes it so special.
Tại sao?
Tại sao hả? Thì như chú nói đó, thì chú ở đây cũng thời gian chú cũng quen chỗ này, thì chú thích.
ហើយនៅនេះវាស្រឡះមុខមាត់ផងហើយសប្បាយដើរទៅណាក៏មើលឃើញគ្នាឯង
Salishan is special because it has given a lot of people an opportunity to get through difficult times in their life. Like my mother, who was raising 4 kids and working her way up without a college education. and it allowed her to support her family at the same time she was working her way up in her job. If it wasn't for that, I don't know what we would have done as far as a place to live.
Sometimes they don't have everything everyone else might have or they think have, but they know how to celebrate in this community. They know how to cry when it's sad. They know how to laugh really hard when things are funny. And I think that makes everybody feel better. And that's, I think it is a great community because of that.
Will you miss the old Salishan?
Yes, I will. But I'm looking forward to a new one.
On July 26, 2000, the Housing Authority received notification that it received a $35 million grant from HUD, from the Housing and Urban Development, to what they call revitalize, meaning do a makeover of Salishan, build new housing, okay?
How did Salishan get the Hope 6 grant?
Through a lot of sweat, a lot of hard work from a lot of good people. We applied for the grant. It was very competitive, and how we got it was through a scoring procedure, and we scored high enough in order to get the grant.
And what we're trying to create here at Salishan is a new series of neighborhoods, different from what's here today, but also trying to keep the good qualities of Salishan in our project for the future.
Я не знаю. Навірно, треба їх перебудувати, бо дійсно дома вже дуже і дуже старі. І кілька разів ми мали там проблеми із каналізацією, там забивалася каналізація, крани протікали. І тому, напевно, що дуже старенькі вже ті дома. І якщо є можливість, звісно, треба їх перебудувати.
La facilidad del baño, que no tiene shower, y que se hiciera un poco más moderna, la estructura fuese un poco más moderna.
Это хорошо. Лучше людям будет лучше жить, потому что это очень старый. Хорошо.
It was temporary housing. It was built to last maybe 10 years. There isn't a lot of insulation in the houses, so they're very cold in the winter and at night. The roofs leak often. There's just a lot of problems with the temporary housing. What we plan to build is permanent housing. We want to build housing that people will be proud of, that will have the space inside of the units that people will be happy with. I mean, you know, bedrooms, kitchens, family rooms, living rooms, you know, all of those pieces that right now a lot of these units don't have. So I think in all it's going to be a lot better neighborhood design for everybody as well as a lot better houses for everybody, and they'll be permanent.
Sería bueno que se hicieran algunos cambios, pero se ve bien, pero sí estaría bien que pequeños cambios que hubiesen.
I love it the way it is, but the homes are falling apart and the wiring is not safe. So I guess it is a good thing they're rebuilding it, but in one way it is a sad thing because it won't be the same community it has been for many, many years.
This, like we have it now, is not going to be in 10 years. We're going to have a lot more houses, and that's going to be sad.
So the street with sidewalks on each side of the street and with street trees, and there'll be street lights and so on, and then the houses with front porches, all the houses will have porches on them, they will face onto the street. So our idea, what we're trying to do, is create a neighborhood where you'll know your neighbor.
You know, I'm sure most people are looking forward to seeing the new house and a new community. You know, it's going to create more jobs and going to help people to feel better about themselves. You know, because when I was growing up, you know, when I tell people or tell friends about where I live, like in Salishan, they'd be like, "What, in Salishan? Who want to go there?" You know, and we would be embarrassed to tell them where we at. You know, and when in high school, we went to high school across town. You know, we probably feel like we don't want people to know that we live here. You know, so you know, by having the Hope 6 coming in, that would change all the perception what people see in Salishan. They would, you know, people that lived here or the new generation, the new kids that are growing up here can feel better about themselves and about where they live, stuff like that.
I guess my dream is that we just keep more people work together so we can accomplish whatever people have a vision for in the community, that we can do it because we work together.
I don't know. The new Salishan, I think the living space is going to be smaller. I don't think we may have the same number of rooms, but I think it'll be smaller. And we'll be all crunched together, I think. I don't know that I know of anything about the new Salishan that I would like.
The density of the neighborhood will be going up. There will be more people living here. But I think there will also be more connection to the landscape.
I think it's a great idea, as long as they provide the same opportunity for people who need a helping hand. And from the plans that I've heard, it's not only going to be development of new buildings, but it's also going to be the development of new opportunities to help people get education, help people get support that they need for themselves and for their families. And I think that's an excellent project.
I guess it'll just be a process we're all going to go through to see the changes in the new building and tearing down of our old homes. And we'll just have to look forward to the future and think positive.
The new Salishan will be a beautiful place and safe place, and have a beautiful house, have a garden, have a library, a playground for the children that I wish, but I don't know exactly about the plan of the housing.
I feel positive for the change, but I also feel that we need to make sure that the history is there, because the history is also important.
I never want to move out. I definitely want to be here when the new one comes.
Просто good luck для перестройки Salishan.
Hope 6 will bring a whole new community, and that's sometimes good, but I'll miss some of the old things that keep it really a friendly place. I think we have to work together so that the residents here get some of the things that they would hope for their children, for their old people. So it's good, but we have to be, my two words that I use for anybody, including you folks, is pay attention and be attentive to what they're doing. And if you don't like something you see, just speak up.
But I think you will be very, very happy with what you see.
This is my Salishan. It's really nice. It's a cult of happiness. It sometimes smells like rice. This is my Salishan. It's not like others. It's a big family. It's often like a mother. This is my Salishan. I hope it never runs away, never stops being a community, and stays for another day.